Hello everyone, my name is Himanshu from IIIT Vadodara, International Campus DU, and today I'm going to do a presentation on the topic of thermal power plant. Now, these are the contents that we are going to go through: classification, introduction, working principle, layout, equipments, advantages, disadvantages, choice of thermal plants, and the references that I used. Okay, these are the basis of classification for a power station. They can be classified on the basis of fuels. The fuels can be of type fossil fuels, coal power, nuclear power, geothermal, biomass, wind power plant, and solar power plant. Now, another classification type is of by primary movers. It can be of steam turbine plant, gas turbine plants, and combined cycle plant. Now, here in this presentation, we will discuss about the fossil fuel with steam turbine power plants. Okay. So a thermal power plant converts the heat energy of coal into electrical energy. What it does actually is that coal is burned and it is converted into steam through the heating of the water, and the steam rotates the turbine and it converts the mechanical energy into electrical energy. And the power plant, that coal power plant, or like I said, the thermal power plant, is contributing to 65% of the total electrical energy used in the India. Here is the basic working principle of a thermal power plant. How does it work? In number one, we put this coal into the pump, and then it goes through the boiler and it boils it, and then it rotates the turbine, and then it generates electricity, and it also goes into condenser. The condenser again turn that vapor into purified water to again get into the pump and go through the same process again and again. Okay, so our thermal power plant is comprises of following circuits: coal and ash circuits, air and gas circuit, feed water and steam water circuit, cooling water circuit. Now, what are these? We will see later into the picture. Okay, so main and auxiliary equipments. So these are the equipments required in a thermal power plant, and we will discuss some of these. These are the names, you can read it out. Okay, so the point is here is coal and handling. So coal is transported to the power station by rail or road and stored in coal storage plant and then pulverized. You might have seen while traveling through the train many times this coal into the trains. Here is how it is gone. It is the coal is taken out from mine, get into the truck, into the main storage yard, then hooper means crusher that crushes the coal into smaller parts, then it gets stored into a storage tank, and then it is boiled, and then as comes to the tank. This is the process where the whole thermal process are taken out. Okay, so now we are talking about one of the major equipments in our power plant, that is a boiler. And in boiler, the function of boiler is to generate steam at desired pressure and temperature by transferring heat produced by burning of fuel in a furnace to change water into steam. It basically change the water into steam that we use to rotate the turbine. So the boiler is fed with HFO and LDO initially to ignite the coal in boiler. Okay, there are two types of boiler generally, that is water tube boiler and fire tube boiler. Okay. Now talking about the turbine. So in thermal power plant, generally three types of turbines are used, and these turbines are used to increase the efficiency of a power plant. These three are, you can see this high pressure turbine, intermediate turbine, and low pressure turbine. Okay, now talking about the condenser. So here is the definition that you can read through, but in general words, we can say that condenser is a device or a part of the thermal power plant that converts the steam into another fresh air, fresh water, to reuse it again. Okay, cooling tower and ponds. Okay, so these are the major property of cooling tower and pond that you can go through and read it, and this is nothing much to tell about. These are just basic theory part. Now, feed water heater. Okay, this is quite good device, good part of the thermal power plant to increase the efficiency. It has many advantages. The advantages are listed below and can be said as feed water heating improves overall plant efficiency by dissolving oxygen and carbon dioxide, which known as deaeration. Then thermal stresses due to cold water entering the boiler drum are avoided. Quantity of steam produced by the boiler is increased. Now economizer. Now as the name suggests, that is something to do something economically. So what does it do? The flue gases coming out of the boiler carry a lot of heat. Okay, so that heat, so the economizer extract that heat and then use it for the feed water. Now one major other advantage is that it saves the coal through this process and increases the efficiency, as I said earlier. Okay, this is now air preheater. The function of air preheater is to preheat the air before entering to the furnace by utilizing some of the energy left in the flue gases before adjusting them to the atmosphere. So as the finally air is released into atmosphere, so we use that whatsoever we can maximum take output of that. Okay, so this is a whole of at a glance what it looks like to be a thermal power plant, where this is a coal storage tank getting into the furnace, air is being pumped in for the oxygen, then this is hot as and slag to provide the heat, and this is what CO2 is coming out from the coal and the burning process. This is steam turbine, this is condenser that is used to feed the water, and this is feed water processing plant. This is generator, three-phase is a three-phase alternator generator that converts the heat and pass to the wherever required, and this is the vapor coming out of the plant. Okay, now what are the advantages of thermal power plant? Okay, so the fuel that is used here is coal, is quite cheap as compared to other fossil or other type of power plants. Then the less initial cost as compared to other generating stations. It can be installed at any place irrespective of the existence of coal. The coal can be transported to the site of the plant by rail and road, means that we can establish this power plant anywhere irrespective whether the coal is available there or not, because coal can be transported via train or trucks. Okay, it requires less space as compared to hydroelectric power station. The cost of generation is lesser than that of diesel power station. Okay, quite simple. Now what are the disadvantages of this power plant? So one of the major disadvantages that it produces a lot of smokes and fumes into the atmosphere that is quite unhealthy for the environment as well as human beings. And one more can be added to the disadvantages, that it is the overall efficiency is quite low, that is at about 35 to 40%. Okay, now these are the few parameters that is being taken into consideration before establishing a thermal power plant. These are supply of fuel, availability of water, transportation facilities, coast and type of land, nearby to load centers, and distance from populated area. Things can be understood by reading it. Okay, some of the biggest thermal power plant in India are Vindhyachal Thermal Power Plant in Madhya Pradesh, Mundra Thermal Power Plant Station in Gujarat, and so on. These are the references that I used in my PowerPoint presentation. I took the help of Google, Wikipedia, and a book called as Principles of Power Station, written by V.K. Mehta. Okay. Thanking you for watching the video.